We're back at the Vancouver Comic-Con, and of course it's only $4. Hey. Hey there, folks. We're here at the Vancouver Comic-Con again today. All sorts of exciting stuff going on here. And in just a moment, we're going to go talk to Jason Copeland, the artist of Kill All Monsters. And of course, your $4 entry fee enters you into a raffle every hour on the hour for great things like this X-Men novel by Peter David. You got this fantastic Wolverine and the X-Men hardcover by Jason Aaron. Jason Aaron kicks ass, so does this book. And this guy, too. All sorts of great stuff, trades, well worth the $4. Hey there, so we're here talking to Jason Copeland, the artist of Kill All Monsters, ! I read it last night, a really fun series. As it turns out, it's not out yet. Yes, it comes out in preview soon?
Yes, it'll be in previews in April. It was originally as a webcomic, but we put it in print. And so it'll be in the previews, it'll be in April, and then it should be out in comic shops hopefully by June or July.
I read it all last night, this morning. 81 pages, is that right?
Well, online is about 83 pages, I think. But the trade actually has more. There's about 136 pages in the trade.
And all that for just $12, yeah?
Yes, yeah, $12. Yeah. It's what's printed on the back, so.
There you go, printed on the back. So the basic premise of Kill All Monsters is it's basically sort of like Shogun Warriors meets a post-apocalyptic world. One thing I wasn't totally clear on, because I read it quickly last night and this morning, I was really out of it last night, maybe you could clarify, I wasn't sure if it was set in the modern time or if it was set in the past a little bit.
Well, it's set actually in an alternative post-apocalyptic setting. It was, I believe it was about the 1940s, where the scientists started doing experiments and the monsters essentially took over and drove humanity into small pockets, underground pockets of resistance. So this is a book that's set probably modern day now, but in an alternative future. So the technology is still very primitive. It's not, it's not Star Wars. Well, actually, probably more Star Wars than it is Star Trek, I guess, would be the way that you would look at it. So basic technology is set in a similar age of now, but just in a separate reality, I guess.
And like I guess as you were saying, the technology isn't quite normal. Obviously, it's an alternate reality, but I guess I didn't see things like iPads and cell phones and all that stuff, obviously because humanity's been beat to shit, really, right?
Yeah, it's definitely more a low-tech future,
but with giant robots.
But I mean, they're not super sleek. They're, like you say, the Shogun Warriors. A lot of the visual reference for me for this was Shogun Warriors from like the 70s comics and Marvel. So that it's not like a Gundam or a Robotech where they've got all these fancy things and transform and stuff like that. These are giant robots that's what they are, and they've got they essentially punch and kick, and they have a few missiles and stuff. But the technology is still pretty low tech. Yeah.
I loved, actually, one of the things I loved about it was the whole giant robots using famous landmarks as weapons. I won't say what famous landmark they use as a weapon. Oh, it was a fantastic moment in it. One thing I also thought was really interesting about it was that the heroes all come from Africa, right?
Well, yeah. So the one of the premise is essentially that one of the pockets of resistance is centered in Africa, and this particular group have constructed giant robots to help combat the giant monsters that have taken over. And so this one group is trying to look for other groups that maybe have set up similar resistant sort of forces, or just they're looking to expand. And so this is their first adventure outside of Africa, and they happen to go to Paris and stuff happens. So yeah.
Do you at any point in time plan on doing anything overseas, or we're going to see some Americans, Canadians?
Well, one of the pilots is actually American, but right now I think the story will focus mostly in Europe, and then once the second volume comes out, which ends the first story, the first arc essentially, we'll look at seeing where it can go.
And do you have a plan in mind right now for when the second collected edition? And I should also ask, is the plan to continue producing it as a online first and then collected edition?
Well, we started online, and we kind of cooled with that a little bit. But we have essentially a publisher that's going to distribute our work online through Comixology. So the plan now is to, as the chapters are completed, to post them, get them put on Comixology, and then once all of the chapters have been released, collect those as a print trade. Yeah.
Today's 10 and 30 brought to you by Beercraft.
Phantom Stranger, great art but horrible. Vibe, a lot of fun. Constantine #1, great reinvention of John Constantine. Prophet, sci-fi genius. Happy, Grant Morrison genius. Hellboy in Hell, Mike Mignola kicks ass. Uncanny X-Men, a lot of fun. Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock is freaky, man. New Avengers, a lot of fun and smart. Minutemen, please somebody shoot me in the face. So, of course, I have to ask you what some of your comic influences are.
Well, I'm kind of a product of the Marvels, of 80 Marvel creators. So, big John Byrne fan, Walt Simonson, Frank Miller, Bill Sienkiewicz. Yeah, guys like that. But I also like modern people. Paul Pope. I really like Paul Pope's work. And Ashley Wood. I'm a big Ashley Wood fan.
Is there any book you're reading currently you think people should know more about, or something you're really enjoying at the moment?
Well, I just actually picked up a book called Five Ghosts yesterday. It's an excellent book. And a guy that I've worked with, Ed Brisson and Michael Walsh, just put out a great book called Comeback through Image. Both books are excellent.
Comeback is getting some pretty good reviews out there.
And so it should. It's a great book.
And Comeback is a time-traveling story.
It is, yeah. Ed would probably say that it's more crime than time travel, and I would probably agree with that. Time travel was kind of just the way to make it a little more less crimey and a little more sci-fi. You know.
And you also worked here on Murder Book, is that right? You did some art in there?
Yeah. Ed and I, Ed Murder Book is Ed Brisson's book, and what happens is that he gets artists to do short stories for him. So I did the main story in number 3, Murder Book 3, and then we did 5-page backups in 4 issues of Jay Faerber's Near Death. So it was numbers 8 to 11 that we did the backups for those. So.
Good old Jay Faerber of Noble Causes and Dynamo 5 fame, as it were. I'm a big fan of Jay Faerber, a very nice guy.
Yeah, for sure. I was really disappointed when Dynamo 5 got stopped going. And Near Death. Near Death was a great book that just, for some reason, just didn't get support. And I think that again, that goes into the crime as a comic is a hard sell. So, Ed putting a science fiction twist on Comeback is something that I think that, really helped. If it was just a solid crime book, people don't seem to react to those as well as they do to other things. So.
And speaking of hard sell, one thing that I did want to mention was that I do love the fact that Kill All Monsters, you can go read it all for free online at the Kill All Monsters website. Big fan of stuff like that. We were just talking briefly off camera there about the whole Kickstarter thing that you guys have planned for Chapter 2.
Yeah, it's essentially to help pay for the printing for Chapter 1. We'll be looking at hopefully getting a decent enough response to that it will help offset the costs for the second volume as well.
And you don't have a planned date yet for when the Kickstarter will start up?
It'll be very soon. I would imagine April.
Well, of course, I'd like to thank you for talking to us today, Jason. And, of course, you can check out Jason's work at jasoncopeland.com and killallmonsters.com. And, of course, keep your eyes open for the Kickstarter fundraising thing coming up soon. Little known fact, Jason Copeland's hands are even clammier than mine. So there you have it, Vancouver Comic Con. Of course, I'd like to thank Len for letting us come here and hang out at Vancouver Comic Con. And, of course, Jason Copeland. That guy's great, and his comic is just fantastic. Thanks for watching.